It's time to cook with Susan Beck. Today we're going to make a rice pilaf. We're going to use our rice cooker, but you could easily do this in a saucepan on the top of the stove as well. So don't worry if you don't have a rice cooker, you can still make rice pilaf. Now what makes it rice pilaf? It's that we are going to cook this today in some chicken broth or chicken stock rather than in water. And into our white rice we will also be putting some celery, onions, and carrots just to add a little extra flavor, and I like the color too. It makes it look a little prettier on your plate. Now when I'm using white rice, I like to rinse my rice first because there's a lot of starch within that rice. These wire kind of mesh colanders work well for this, and I just usually rinse this right over my sink and let my water run down the drain, and I rinse until my water comes out clear. I just really like to remove the starch from this. So there is my rice. Let's set that there so we don't drip too much. And my water is really pretty cloudy if you can get a view of that. So there we go, draining that off a little bit. I'm using 2 cups of rice, which means in my rice cooker I want to put in liquid to the 2 mark, which is roughly just a little over 2 cups of chicken stock. So in that goes about 2.5 cups. So if you're doing this on the top of the stove, 2.5 cups of your chicken stock to your 2 cups of rice should work pretty well with this oven too, on the stove too. All right, so into there is going to go my rice. And I have my onions, about 1/8 cup of diced onions and 1/4 cup of celery. And I'll probably have about 1/4 cup of, carrots there, and 1/4 cup of celery. I was just leaving these to cut, that you can see I'm using the tops. I actually kind of like the little leafy pieces in my rice, so I didn't cut that up yet, just to show you that you can just cut right through all those little tops, and it's a great way to not waste any of your celery. Alright, I kind of like my celery in little pieces. Again, got about 1/4 cup of that, and it just goes right into the bottom of your rice cooker or right into your saucepan. Put on your lid, plug in your machine, and press this to on. This will take, 20 to 30 minutes. It knows when it's done based on when the moisture is disappearing in there. It'll pop to warm, and while you're waiting for your other food to cook, it can just continue staying heated. Now in my other videos I've talked about how the steam rises out of this little hole up here, and sometimes, especially if I'm cooking a full pot, like 3 cups of rice, the more I cook, the more it seems to bubble over. Well, I had a viewer who gave me a suggestion. She says with her rice cooker, she puts a towel around the lid, keeping that steam hole open so that you can prevent a little bit less mess all over your counter and up into the air. So we're going to give that a try today. I've done it once before and found that it works quite well. So we'll let this cook. So let's see what we have here. That towel worked well. I have a lot less moisture and messiness around my counter. Oh, and look at that rice. And doesn't it just look so pretty when you add the celery and carrots to it? I think it's time to fluff it and give it a try. I'm just going to take a fork and fluff that rice a little bit. Just kind of loosens it up, and I can kind of mix those vegetables in with it. And then I'm going to put that on my plate here for my dinner. Tonight I am serving rice pilaf with beets and some walleye. Let's give it a taste. That's really good. The celery flavor comes through very, very well, and you can just tell it's been cooked in chicken stock instead of water. It's just much, much more flavorful, and it's just so moist. This is just a great way to gussy up your white rice and make it just a little bit fancier with your dinner, and adding that little bit of color makes the plate look good too.